grab your little drinky drink, get chill, a blinky. We're doing a Q&A. Mine's just water. I feel like all you guys know about me is that I really like mind to muscle connection and I'm a bodybuilder. So here we are, Q&A. I put a little question box onto my Instagram and I got some juicy questions. So we're gonna just go over all of them. I honestly got a lot of questions and I'm excited for you guys to just get to know me a little bit more than, prep. We'll just get right into it. How old are you? I'm 29. How long have you been training? I've been training since I was 13. So if you don't know, now you know. I come from a long lineage of bodybuilders. Not that long, just the generation above me. So my parents both bodybuilt, my uncles, actually 2 generations above because my grandma also was a bodybuilder. This being said, I wasn't a bodybuilder when I was 13, but my dad, he was a professional fighter. He is a personal trainer, a boxing coach, and he introduced me to weightlifting when I was young because I played sports. And my sport of choice was soccer. Soccer was so fun. I played and got a full ride to play in college. But he knew that, strength training really helps aid speed, power, all that stuff. So I've been lifting since I was 13. However, you lift for power and speed for sport. I never bodybuilt. And then this is my 3rd year actually bodybuilding isolation training. Did you go to college? Yes, I went to college. I got my bachelor's of science degree in kinesiology and psychology, and I love both of those. Psychology I actually like a lot more than kinesiology. So kinesiology is the study of the body and psychology is the study of the mind. And there is so much mindset training that I like to provide with my girls that I coach, and just psychology in general is fascinating to me. So, did you play sports? Yes, I ran track and I played soccer in college, and growing up I did play other sports, but soccer took over my life. I eat, breathe, play soccer. I was on any team you can imagine, with tournament team, travel team, club team, high school team. In high school you play both travel and high school at the same time. And I talked to some of my friends who I played soccer with, and I'm just like, how did we do that? Sometimes we played 6 games in one weekend, and we would wake up feeling like we got hit by a truck and just go play more. It was crazy because we were very good. We were a very good club team. We would always make it to the championship, and man, it was so fun. That was the most fun time of my life though, in soccer wise, playing with all of my sisters because we were on a club team. We were together from some of us 10 years old up until graduating high school. So we were like this. A bunch of my bridesmaids I played soccer with since I was a young girl, and so I had 8. I have 8 or 9 bridesmaids. That was just so much fun. What are your credentials? So I have my bachelor's of science degree, and then I have numerous, what are they called? By the way, I'm approaching peak week and I have prep brain. So I don't know why I thought it would be a good idea to do a Q&A while I have prep brain. And if you don't know what prep brain is, it's basically where you feel like you kind of have no brain cells left because you're really lacking carbs. So it's all good. Certifications. I have multiple certifications in NASM, integrative nutrition, some other certifications that didn't give me any credentials, but I really loved. I don't care to have the credentials. I just really love learning new things, so I'll take little weekend things here and there. Haven't had time for that in a while. What is your sign? Jesus Christ. That is one thing that I just don't really partake in anymore, is like the astrology type of situation. I just don't like it. How tall are you? I'm 5'2.5". Give your testimony. I love this question. Let me play you just like my favorite worship song ever. I hope you can hear it. I'll keep it later. And when I first heard that song, it brought me to tears, and it still brings me to tears. It really speaks to my soul. Just want to throw out there that, you know, when she says you will win, she's not talking about like a bodybuilding competition or something like that. When you follow Jesus, when you are right with God, you will win. Period. I won't give my full testimony. I think that needs to be a whole separate video because it can go on and on. But I got baptized actually about a year ago to date. I got baptized November 19th, 2023. And prior to that, I had always been knocking, but I didn't know where to start, and I felt overwhelmed, and most importantly, I felt unworthy to come to Jesus. Like, I've done too many bad things. I'm a bad person. I'm not worthy, and now I know that that's the enemy that has crept into my mind or creeped me before. Now I'm like, I rebuke you. But my husband brought me to know Jesus, and I'm forever grateful for that. Basically, I grew up rough and not in a circumstance where I was in poverty, or I had a beautiful upbringing. I had both parents in my life, an amazing family, a great support system, but I always would mess up, always, and had a bad track record. I'm 13 years old to, I want to say, until I met my husband, until like 23. And it was narratives that others told me about myself that I believed, and I acted like, because I just felt like, oh, well, I'm gonna mess up anyway. But in my heart, I didn't want to mess up. I was doing things that other people were doing or my peers were doing. The quote that I've read before, and I don't know who it's from, but essentially they said, sin is like a jail cell. It is really, really comfy, and you get to just like live in that. And when you're right with Jesus and you follow Jesus, it takes you out of that sin, and it's sometimes really uncomfortable. Most of the time, you know, there's just like an unraveling, and you have to die to your flesh, and you really do, and it's hard. I was really comfortable in my sin, and I kept messing up, but I would always get caught. Like, if my friends and I did the same thing, I would be the one to get caught. And so in retrospect, I feel like that was God saying, don't get comfortable in that sin. Like, you get caught, you're in trouble. Like, oh man, I've gotten in trouble so many times in my life. And again, whole separate video, but essentially, long story short-ish, I didn't feel worthy, and I was wasn't forced, but really strongly urged to the cross by my husband, and then figured out my own path and pace that worked well with me, and fell in love. And I still am falling in love. I would still say I'm in that honeymoon phase with God, and still learning so much and having so much fun learning about him, and how has my spiritual life and my relationship with Jesus helped me in my bodybuilding career, and like this is my path, and I feel so strongly to that. That's a whole other conversation that we can have, is like, where does bodybuilding lie within faith? It is not modest, you know? So that's something that I would love to talk to you guys about. I know that I have a lot of Christian women following me on here, and I think that we should really, let's start a freaking group chat. Women in faith and fitness or something. Anyway, we can go on and on. I felt unworthy, and now I know I am, and I am at so much peace, and I'm still learning. So that's a little bit of my testimony. If you could change anything about yourself, what would it be? God made me the way I am. No. Things that I think that I need to work on would be, my attitude has gotten a lot better, but I want to practice more patience, like more quick to love rather than get like, ugh. But in regards to like my past and things that I've gone through, I wouldn't change anything because those were lessons I needed to learn. Currently, I think that something that I would like to change is the fact that I'm really hungry, but we have a goal. Have you had any injuries in the past? Yes. So I grew up with patella tendonitis. It was so bad. I would have to do, I don't know if you've ever seen like a pre-wrap trick where you put it on your patella tendon because it's so swollen. It would hurt me so bad. My dad would always try to help me figure out a cure for that, and he would take me to really great doctors and physical therapists and stuff. Tendinitis is basically the muscles are so tight surrounding the tendon, it would just put a lot of pressure on that tendon. And so I would need to get a lot of deep tissue in my quads, and it hurt so bad. And then I actually tore my hamstring in college. That sucked. So I hyperextended my Achilles, I fractured my ankle. It was like a hairline fracture, but I did have to go in a boot. I've gotten a few concussions. For the amount of sports that I've done, I'd say that my injuries were really minimal. Oh, I remember this one game. So I'm not a good soccer player. I was a good athlete, and my game was fast, strong, and aggressive. I would get down with girls, all the time. I got in a few fights actually on the field, which, whatever. This one girl wound up and elbowed me in the jaw, and it hurt so bad. And that kind of still affects me, actually. I need to get like massages in my TMJ. What have you learned from your success? What I've learned from my success, number one, all glory to God. Nothing that I've obtained or attained is from me if it wasn't in the will of God. The number one thing that you need to be successful, and that's in anything, real estate, fitness, building a business, becoming good at something, is discipline and consistency. So callousing your mind and having that ability to be disciplined, compound interest on consistency. Your period, do you lose it? Natural bodybuilding, what blood work to get, how to stay healthy. That is a lot. Yes, I do lose my period. When you are below 12% body fat, you can get amenorrhea. I have gotten my period at 11% body fat. Right now, I'm about 8-9% body fat. I did lose my menstrual cycle. And amenorrhea is when the female body is so beautifully intelligent. Your body knows that you would not be able to carry a child. So you don't ovulate, you don't have your period, and over time this can be really unhealthy. When you're natural, there's only so much you can do to support your hormones. So the test I would get, it said blood work. yes, get blood work, but the test I would recommend is called the Dutch test. That is a fully comprehensive test that tells you everything you need to know about your hormones and stuff. Actually, I'm collaborating with these two wonderful women who just did all of my testing for, we did a Dutch test, a food map test, and another test. And I'm so excited because we took it at the peak of prep where my hormones are so messed up, obviously because like I'm just very malnourished right now. We get to see how powerful nutrition is, and they're gonna work with me for a few months, and I'm so excited to share all of that because gut health and just health in general is so important to me and so fascinating. So to get to know what's really going on inside and share it with you guys is going to be so much fun. My husband just got home. Do you like having a training buddy? I actually don't have a training buddy. My husband and I sometimes train together, and that's really fun because him and I, we just get each other. And obviously we can only train legs together because it would probably be so annoying for him to train upper body with me. We've trained shoulders together, but that's it. But when we train together, we're on a flow and we can have our headphones in and just kind of like drops at each other, push each other in a way that you don't have to talk. And that's my vibe. Like on these YouTube videos, I do talk a lot because it's important to me just kind of like relay the narrative that's going on in my head while I'm training. I am thinking about all of these elements such as mind to muscle connection and imagery, the form cues. That's literally what's going on in my head. So it is really easy for me to talk while training for you guys. But if I was just like with a training buddy and talking the whole time, that's like my worst nightmare. I want to train. Like I am an athlete. I want to train. I want to train hard. So I would love to have a training buddy that is on that same vibe and a woman that is super strong and can push me and like secretly, you know, resist against my weight and help me get better, stuff like that. So if you are in the LA area and you're a beast, can you hit me up so we can train together? That'd be great. What's your favorite genre of music? I would have to say like 90s R&B. Besides working out, what's your favorite thing to do? 1,000,000% is be with my husband. Something I'm really looking forward to after prep is we did this 2 years ago where last year we were in prep, we weren't able to, but we got an Airbnb. We customized a menu for things that we were really craving. And we went out to Joshua Tree and it was just him and I, and we cooked and we just vibed out. My camera got too hot, so I had to take a little break. That's my favorite thing to do, is go on trips with my husband and adventure and eat. When we are out of prep, we love food. Let's get into like some bodybuilding questions. What got you into bodybuilding, and are you actually natural? Yes, I am actually natural. I am a lifetime natural and I haven't dabbled, I guess you can say. Why? Is because I believe that I haven't maxed out my genetic potential. So I don't have this weird like hatred towards people that do enhancement drugs. What I don't like is not maxing out your genetic potential and just going and doing steroids and thinking that you're gonna have a specific look, but you're skipping steps. That's the only reason why I have never done steroids. Not the only reason, but the main reason is because I am currently maxing out my genetic potential. What got me into bodybuilding? Well, I've always known about bodybuilding because I grew up watching my grandma bodybuild. I knew my dad was a bodybuilder, my mom, my uncles, and it is, I guess you could say, like in my blood. Like I grew up in a gym. Like I said, my dad is a trainer, and I literally would do homework as he was working in the gym, like at the front desk. I lived in a gym. I've always lived in a gym. So I knew about bodybuilding, but I didn't want to bodybuild because I didn't like the look that was being brought to stage. Personally, I knew that bikini was way too small for me, and then physique, bodybuilding isn't a look that I would want to like walk around, because you're on stage for like 5 seconds. You gotta think about how you want to walk around in your life. That's not a look that I would want to walk around as. I personally don't like chest muscles or triceps or biceps. So wellness came to the United States. I had no idea, but I was going to a gym where there was a lot of bodybuilders, and a few people had mentioned to me, you should bodybuild. And I'm like, no, like I've been competitive my whole life. I just train for fun now and this and that. And I was really into CrossFit too. And I was just having fun with that. And I also mentioned like, I don't like the look. And so they said, have you ever heard about wellness? And I was like, no, I've never heard about wellness. I looked it up. It was the first year that wellness came to the United States. And I was like, that is something that I can get behind, because that is my genetics, you know, like a smaller upper body, small waist, and big legs, big glutes. Like that's how I've grown up. It's literally my body type. So I got a little bit overweight after COVID. Like I said, Matt and I are foodies. We were going in on the food. And anyway, I just kind of randomly went into prep. I asked my uncle, I said, hey, will you collaborate with me and be my coach? And let's just go into prep and like do a wellness bodybuilding show. Like, why not? So that's what we did. Back in the day, they did mostly 100-day cut. And so my dad, my uncle, and I, we all put our heads together and we said, okay, they had me on a 9-day carb cycle, which I love actually, and so gonna do again. I did my own strength training. By the way, I only have ever done my strength training program. That's why I feel very comfortable posting the workouts and stuff, is because it's all my training. So I did my own training, and then I would just, connect with my uncle for some check-ins here and there. Very, very minimal, very new category. So he had me doing like little to no cardio, but it was the leanest I ever looked. It was such a fun experience. It was 100 days, but it was really hard. And this is coming from a girl that used to say I could never be disciplined. I could never get on a diet. I would be like, no. I never dieted before bodybuilding. I would try and just fail miserably and then like binge. No. So it was the most dedicated I had ever been. Even playing college sports, like you don't, track your diet. So it was the most dedicated I've ever been, and I proved to myself that like, dang, I could really dial in if I want to, So that was so fun to figure out about myself. And I wasn't very lean that first show, but I ended up getting, I think, first in true novice, first in novice, and then second in the open class. And so throughout that experience, I said, this was cool, but I'm never doing it again. Way too hard, don't like it. But I qualified for nationals. So I was like, you know what? Let me just get an actual coach, because with my uncle, it was just like there wasn't regular check-ins. I felt like, it was just kind of lax, So I was like, why don't I go like get a coach and actually train for nationals and like do a little bit of a muscle growth phase. So my first show was in April, and then I did a little muscle growth phase, recomp, whatever. And then nationals was in December, and we just did full send. Like, that was a crazy experience. Knowing what I know now, a lot of it was very wrong, but I got very lean and I won my pro card. And so escalated quickly, right? It was like going from that April show, I'm never doing a bodybuilding show again, ended up qualifying for nationals, and then from nationals, I was like, well, you can't qualify for nationals and not go. So I go to nationals, and I win my pro card. I'm like what? Like, mind blown. At this point, I don't know anything about bodybuilding. I don't know what you're supposed to do. Posing is a whole other story. Like, we can get into it. I had nothing. I don't know, like, that if you're in the center, it means you're probably winning. I didn't know, like, what the judges were looking for. I was pretty much just, like, being and existing and learning every day, which was really awesome and such a wonderful experience where I was just so present, and literally the hardest thing I ever have done, but so rewarding also to callous the mind, really seek out that delayed gratification. But man, it was so hard. And so shoot, I was like, you can't become a pro and not compete. And then here I am. And there's more to the journey, obviously. The next question was, how do you feel about your bodybuilding journey so far? Compare when you first started versus now. Yeah, man. I wasn't aware of the deep cellular transformation I was about to embark on. I'm telling you, my life was flipped inside out after experiencing life as a bodybuilder. I completely changed so many things and learned so many things about myself and what I'm actually capable of, right? We talked about coming from a lot of failure, a lot of messing up, a lot of I'm not worthy, and then that transpired into every day proving to myself that I can be disciplined and I can be dedicated and I can not cheat on my diet and I can give 100%. And wow, like, it's been life-changing to say the least, and the best thing that I could have ever done. You know, there are so many layers to bodybuilding that I despise, you know, especially after this year. This is my 4th show of the year. I've been prepping for a year. I'm like burnt out, I'm tired, I'm, you know, hungry, but that's been the beauty of my journey. I've just been like curious about it along the way and never put a lot of stress on it or anxiety, and you do have your bouts of like stress and anxiety. Going back into like this year, it was so hard, and I call it my bulldozing year, but it was also just another opportunity to prove to myself what I'm made of, what God has given me, what God strengthens me with every day, you know. And it's incredible when you make tiny agreements with yourself every single day and you stick to them and you build this impenetrable mindset and you prove to yourself daily that you are capable of anything, and your mind is the vessel that runs the whole entire ship, you know. And it's just phenomenal. You can prove to yourself that your power is limitless, and I think you have to be properly guided and you have to be safe. So many elements to it, but it's I could go on, and maybe we should do a part 2 because I'm getting really tired and there's so many more questions about like bodybuilding and stuff. What was my judge's feedback? Are you scared to get bulky? No. There's so many questions that you guys wrote to me and I want to get to, but I don't even know if you guys are gonna like this. So like, comment more questions. Let me know if this is something that you want to see a part 2 of. I could talk about the journey, bodybuilding, coaching, and just like my perspective on things like all day long. But I hope you got to know me a little bit more outside of mind to muscle connection and a wellness training split. And I hope that you enjoyed this. Again, let me know if you want to see a part 2, and I'll see you guys next time.